So all of the underlying framework base classes are organized into namespaces. And this allows us to get access to those and use those a little bit more efficiently because of the organization that's provided. These namespaces, therefore, providing all of the organization for those class types, and that prevents conflicts between different class types. We can also define our own namespaces when we create our own classes. So that means that when you define your own namespaces, you're really providing sets of associated classes. Now, for example, let's say that we had a class called account. Well, interestingly, account might be used in a number of different ways. If I'm implementing accounts into a receivables type of application, then an account might behave differently than if I'm implementing account into a payables type of application. In fact, those two accounts might be two entirely different classes based on the way that they operate. Well, if that's the case, we could actually organize them into two separate namespaces. So a receivables.account and a payables.account represent two completely distinct classes, even though technically they have the same name. So as you see, the namespace here provides the ability to have multiple objects and classes using the same name, but not necessarily have a clash or a conflict between them. Now, in the .NET framework, some of the more common namespaces for the framework base classes include system. We have a system namespace that we use to define all the basic system classes. If you remember, all of our basic built-in types were inside the system class, or system namespace. We also have other namespaces that descend from system that define other specific elements of the underlying system, such as all of our I/O operations, security, threading, networking, XML. If I'm using Windows Forms, for example, everything that defines our WinForms library is actually in the namespace system.windows.forms. So everything is actually very logically located and organized. And that way you can really focus on the namespaces that contain the classes that are meaningful to you, the ones that actually provide the functionality that you're trying to implement. And that makes it a lot easier to go through the sets of classes and offerings and make an intelligent choice as to which elements are actually going to be useful for your applications.